If you have been asking if healing is real,
stick around and find out that healing is for real, and we don't mean maybe. My name is Tony.
And I am Zane, and we are two witnesses and representatives
of the miraculous gospel of healing. Hello, everyone. In this episode, we are going to describe what is divine healing. Hey, I'm Tony Myers.
And I am Zane. And we are here on the Gospel of Healing podcast to pull apart this simple question. I think it's a relevant question because I believe a lot of believers actually want healing, but they don't really know what it is. And if you don't know what it is, then you can't really say that you understand how to get it. Yeah, Tony?
I'll tell you one thing it ain't.
What it is?
You want to hear what it ain't?
What it is? Let's go.
Lord, please help Sister so-and-so. Sister Judy's a great person. Would you please heal her?
What?
God, please guide the surgeon's hands. Lord, would you please tell the doctor what the diagnosis is? Help the doctor discover what's wrong with me. That is what divine healing is not.
Tony, you're convinced. You almost convinced me there that you're an actor. You know, you're really put that. The tone and everything, like. But that's true. That's well done, though. Yeah, shocked me there, but that's true.
We're supposed to be believers, right?
You're supposed to be believers, indeed.
Are we believing? And all right, let's get this straight right now. Because people think an aspirin heals. People think doctors heal.
Yeah.
So I want to address that right away. Doctors do not heal.
No, they do not.
What they do is rig up your body.
Yes, sir.
A thing we used to call jerry-rigging.
Hey.
That's what they do. They remove stuff. You think about, all right, I was a welder. So you think about what I have to do to fix something. I've got to cut it, totally replace it, and then re-weld it.
Right.
Did I heal that or did I fix it?
That is a different story right there.
It is not brand new.
No, it is not.
So healing, divine healing, is completely making it brand new.
Yeah.
It is not having to take things out, put steel in. That's not a complete healing because, especially with back surgeries, 80% people that go through back surgeries are in pain for the rest of their lives. Not to mention, when you're talking about fusion and things like this,
right?
They can't even bend freely or any of that. Is that healing? Absolutely not.
Definitely
that
not.
Is getting by.
Yeah.
That's what that is. It's simply being able to function around the malfunction. Divine healing means poof, that's it.
Yeah. And that's true. No,
God does not heal through doctors.
I love the analogy that you use with the welding because that's basically it. Using that analogy, it pretty much puts it into context that these guys are not healing. They're really trying to piece your body together. They're taking out things and putting things in and trying to piece your body together. And therefore, you can't say that when they are finished, you are now operating with a body that has been adjusted. It's not functioning in the way it's supposed to function. It's not functioning perfectly well when you're going through all these surgeries and so on. One of the things in particular that I think that that also stands out with the analogy that I just used, it brings into context that if we see healing as the remedy that you are using, or the remedy that is provided for reparation to your actual physical body, if you identify it like that, then going to a doctor, going to and allowing surgeons to operate in your body is the same thing like going to a mechanic around the corner in a hole somewhere that use some old-time tools to fix your body, and when the manufacturer could just push a button and say tit 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 and it hicks. It's the same thing right there. And you're trusting these guys with something in particular that they're really damaging more than they're actually repairing. It's not.
And I want people to think about this. And this is actually a friend of mine came up. Well, but aspirin heals, Tony. It takes care of the headache. No, it doesn't. That's why you have to buy a bottle of it.
That's somebody.
Because that's why they sell it by the bottle. It doesn't take care of it forever. And so people are so conditioned to think that it's normal to have to take medicine and things that they think it's true healing when it's not.
Yeah.
The other thing is, where's the information that medicine uses coming from? You would never let a surgeon operate you that has not been through a college.
Mm-hmm.
So where does that wisdom come from? That is not coming from God. That's coming from man. That is man's wisdom,
right?
Not God's, because so many people mistake. Well, that God gave that doctor wisdom. No, he didn't. There was another man that taught that doctor, this is how you do it.
Yeah, yeah. So here's in particular, I'm going to use another analogy to actually kind of give context as to what healing really is. So we just identify what healing is not, right? For most of us, if you actually, I don't know if anybody who's listening to this would actually, they're familiar with sound. You know, in some areas, they actually use sound. And what they do is that they actually put particles like dust on a platform, and they turn on the speaker or the vibration. And once the sound is on, it causes the dust to form a shape. Based on the type of vibration, the dust kind of reveals what the vibration is, the pattern of the vibration on the surface. I want everybody to think about your body as the dust on that surface. And healing is where you're functioning. You refer to your spirit, which is like using the vibration to cause your body to come back to the pattern of that vibration and that it's supposed to be.
Oh, I love it.
That's basically what you do it. When you abandon that, your own vibration that's supposed to cause the body to keep its proper form, and you go outside, that's like asking somebody to say, give me the same form, fix my body, and the person come and take their finger and try to form the vibration, and it will never be perfect. They're either going to take out something, take out some dust because this dust, there's too much dust on this side. Or they will say, I need to put in some dust to form the formation, to actually bring it to its correct formation. And then you walk away thinking, well, you've been fixed. But really, that is nowhere close to perfection. Or you begin to take some other substance. You abandon your own spiritual, I'm using the vibration here as the analogy, right? The analogy, you turn on the vibration and it gives the body the order. In the same way, healing is coming back to your own spirit to give everything, to bring everything back to the order that the spirit has given it. Because most people think when something is wrong with your body, you need a body mechanic to fix it, without taking into consideration that when the seed was implanted into the woman's womb and it entered the egg, the spirit entered that egg and the egg began to develop according to what the spirit had in it. Yeah? And if it developed according to what the spirit had in it, then technically you're not living from your organs. You're living from the energy, which is why the whole Bible is about bring your mind back, because your mind determines how the energy begins to function. Look at one scenario. This will actually probably many believers or most people don't even think about this. Have you ever seen a lion go in a gym? Yet he's strong. And where does that come from? The energy. The spirit of the lion gives the lion everything that he needs. It comes out of the energy. Once the energy leaves the lion, all of that muscle and mass will go right back to dust. And so if the lion in particular doesn't have to go to the gym, you don't see a lion bench pressing a tree. You don't see the lion squatting a rhino. But it has the body because everything of that is actually coming from the spirit. And so healing or divine healing is basically coming back to the energy, understanding your own energy. So just like that vibration could arrange the dust, you come back to your own energy and it'll arrange your dust. And you're back to normalcy. That makes sense?
Makes perfectly sense. It's the spirit that gives our bodies life.
Exactly. Life formation, the formation in your organs, everything. And if you remove it, what you need to do is to turn on the vibration and it will bring the dust right back where it's supposed to be. So your spirit could actually cause the dust to multiply. Your spirit could cause the dust to shrink. Your spirit could cause the dust to expand. Your spirit could actually bring it and straighten up the entire structure. Just like that vibration that's moving around the dust. So for those of you who are hearing this for the first time, this is why the Bible in particular is very specific about renewing your mind. Because what you're accustomed doing is using your 5 senses in reverse. You're using the senses for things outside when you're supposed to be using the senses to express the thing inside.
Everything that is spirit comes from within outwardly.
Inside
it does
out.
not come from outwardly inwardly. It
True.
comes inwardly outwardly. That's why when you are trying to relate spiritually to the exterior world, nothing will happen because your focus point is in the wrong area.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where you have to focus internally. Then that will come out through your body. That's when you see things change.
That is what we're talking about right there. And on the point of the doctors that you're referring to, just as Tony just said, they're going to the doctors. Where the doctors got the information and what is the reference point of the information. And for those of you who never go and research it, don't take Zane and Tony word for it, and do a Google search and go and research the word medicine. And you see that medicine was derived in ancient Greece. In ancient Greece, because the Greeks were not people of the ancient East, they did not have the inheritance of that information. So they sat down there and they philosophized a lot. And they come to conclusions to what this could be and what that might be. And you listening to a doctor who's going to study a system that is based on what this could be and what that might be. And medicine, by the way, if you do any research, you know that before it was called medical science, it was called medicine. And medicine back then was of the perspective that the body is an entity by itself and the mind is a separate entity. So when you come to a medical doctor, they treat your body as though it is an entity that lives by itself. Now, if the spirit leaves the body and it goes back to dust, then the body is not an entity by itself. So you're going to people who have been taught to treat your body like they're treating a vehicle.
Yes.
And you think they're helping you. But the only way for them to help you is for them to understand the energy or the vibration that's supposed to give it its correct formation. Food for thought. Go check it out. Go check it out.
And medical science is the study of the human body through observation and experimentation. Look it up. That's exactly what it says.
That is exactly it.
Now, what's Hebrews 11:1 says? We do not walk by sight. We walk by faith.
Not by faith, yeah.
So, medical doctors, based upon observation, based upon their physical senses, based upon comparison, this is what a healthy cell looks like. This is what an unhealthy cell looks like.
Yeah.
And they determine that from a group of people, 100 people, and what they're saying about their own bodies. So it is in no way, what do you want to call it? Concrete.
Yeah, not concrete at all.
At all.
No, not concrete at all.
But yet, the spirit is concrete. The energy is concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can tell when there's good energy and when there's bad energy.
Yes, sir.
My back could be turned. Someone could walk in the room. I not even know someone new entered the room, and I can feel anger.
Yeah.
I can feel the low energy, which anger is a low energy. It weighs you down.
Yeah.
So we can sense this. So if we are working low energy matter is low energy, spirit is high energy. So when we work at the right perspective, if our reference point is right and is spirit, then it changes the material substance.
Exactly.
So it's the energy from our reference point of being spiritual beings that causes the matter that is our body to change.
Yes, sir. So basically the energy is the control center. Spirit is your control center.
Yes.
And once you understand the control center, then you can function from your control center and manage your body. And the control center begins to manage the body. It actually happens automatically. Once you understand the control center, you begin to function from the control center, then it naturally brings the body into the formation that it's supposed to have.
And let's talk about the miraculous, because part of my story, part of my testimony, I went 6 years where I did not get 3,000 calories a day. 6 years.
6 years.
I went 2 years with 0 calories a day.
Wow.
Or excuse me, no, the 0 calories would have been 6 months.
Okay, okay.
But for the other 6 years, I was getting around 220 calories a day.
Wow.
So how was I still alive? Because the energy of the Spirit.
Energy of the Spirit, indeed.
Which I didn't even know at the time.
That's just an amazing thought right there. That's an amazing thought right there. That you're actually not consuming anything to provide you with sustenance.
So we are not reliant upon food, folks.
No.
We truly aren't. I'm living proof. I am literally living proof.
The power of the Spirit.
We know a little bit what we're talking about here.
Yeah. We definitely do.
and I do want to say this. But true divine healing, a lot of times, we don't give it credit. We rationalize it.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, you go get a test. It says you have cancer, right? Then you go get another test. And I don't care whether you've been prayed for or not. Let's say you've been prayed for. Well, it comes back, you don't have cancer. The doctors would tell you, well, there was a mistake made. And you'll believe them instead of crediting that was divine healing right there.
Yeah. That's so true. Eh?
There's so many things. For instance, the placebo effect is divine healing.
Yeah.
Now, God doesn't necessarily get the credit.
But it's still your Spirit causing it.
But it's still His Spirit, and it's still His healing.
Yeah. And that's a good point, Tony, because even for me, when I first started, and the miraculous in particular, and how it happens, because how programmed your mind is to think about rational, not rational. Because let's just put this into perspective too. People use logic and spirit as though they're opposites. No, they're not. There's just two different types of logic. Right? One logic has a particular reference point. The other logic has a different reference point. It's like if we use two physical reference points, the logic of an engineer and the logic of a plumber, they're both logics, but they actually have different priority to those logics. They have two separate physical reference points. The logic of the Spirit is based on the energy of the Spirit. And so you need to understand what is the energy to be able to understand the process of reasoning that comes from that. And so we have been taught to use physicality as a reference point for logic. And when the miraculous take place, the first reaction, I remember the first few times I experienced the miraculous, administering it to others and even for myself. And I sat down there and I thought to myself for a good week, saying, nah, that had to be a coincidence. Because you're accustomed with rational, physical logic. When really and truly, it was a miracle.
Correct.
It was a miracle that you experienced. But your logic, your physical logic does not allow you to stop and say and acknowledge that happened independent of some physical dynamic.
Right. Human logic demands a physical resolution.
Yeah.
You have to be, in cases like that, it's always someone else's fault. Somebody was to blame. The equipment malfunctioned.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Instead, it was a true miracle.
It was a true miracle.
So
yeah, so and that's happened for me. Like there were times in the past where I was experiencing something on my body. And after about 2 to 3 months, I'm praying about it. But that was around the time I was praying with specificity. Right? So I prayed with a specific, nothing happening, nothing. I didn't see any kind of, not experiencing any different, any change or any improvement in any way. I go to the doctor. Doctor says, these are 2 scenarios. One was when I went to the doctor, he checked and didn't see anything. He said it had to be this here. He told me that. I spoke to what he said, and everything lined up. The next time, it wasn't anything concerning specificity. This is early in the research process, right? The next time I go to the doctor, I'm experiencing something. And just before I see the doctor, I stand up there and the Spirit downloaded something in my mind. That was in my mind. He was actually saying that if you have Jesus' Spirit, and where Jesus is, his body is running perfectly, then your body is supposed to run perfectly. That moment hit me there, and I got healed and didn't even know. Right there. Gone in by the doctor, and the doctor said, "You're fine." And I walk out, never experiencing the symptom again. And it took me some time for it to resonate in my mind. You got healed. Right? Because as you now start as natural faith, actually try to find some sort of physical, rational, physical explanation as to why it didn't turn out in the way that it did.
Exactly right. And that's why the carnal mind is at enmity towards the things of God. Neither can it understand the things of God because it's using human logic.
Exactly. It cannot. That's the same thing as somebody who studying electricity and somebody who's studying plumbing. They will not understand each other. That's different priority of logic.
And you better not mix them.
And yeah, better not mix them too. yeah, some detrimental results. So it's the same thing, and for everybody listening, I hope that this episode in particular gives some context as to what healing really is and has removed you from the perspective that number one is magic and it's not something that has a system of logic attached to it, or it is an expression of a particular system of logic. And number two, that many of you may have already experienced miracles, but you sat down there with physical rationalization and denied the reality of what the Spirit did.
I will venture to say almost every living person has experienced a divine healing, but has rationalized it away.
I would 1000% agree with it.
That's my experience. I mean, I can talk to people for a few minutes, and all of a sudden, they'll mention something. I'm like, oh, so you've had a miracle before.
You had it, yeah. And when you really think about it logically, as you said that, if you're a spiritual being, you're bound to have some spiritual experience somewhere because you're
That's right.
Your energy.
As an atheist, I went 6 years with not enough food to sustain my body.
It's just amazing. But these thoughts of that amazing.
So the Spirit and his energy is more automatic than what people think, than what religion's taught.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. Very true.
So, and with that, I am the BAM.
And the boom. All right, so this brings us here this particular episode. Stay tuned. See you on the next episode. Feel free to actually contact us via all the means of contacting us that you're seeing on the screen. And leave your comments. Let us know how this has actually helped you. If these explanations, remove the Christian verbiage from these explanations so that you could have a better understanding as to what you're dealing with. And if it helps you, let us know. We would like to know your opinions and your comments. Blessings and much love.